Hello and welcome to The Grid, episode 6 on Sports Tonight Live on this Wednesday, the 28th of March 2012. I always have to check my watch whenever I'm telling the time or looking at the date. I don't know why that is. And I would have one on here if I were a co-driver, but I'm not. I'm Neil Cole. Hello. This is Kevin Shepherd.
Hello.
And we are your one-stop strategy for all of your motorsport needs for your motorsport fix this week. We've heavy-fueled the show for this week. We'll be talking, hopefully, to the 2003 World Rally Champion, Petter Solberg, live from Portugal, where the WRC there is about to kick off tomorrow. We should also be talking to potential future F1 champion, Alexander Rossi, live on this show. So, yes, we've got big guests. We'll also be talking some NASCAR and getting in touch live to Italy with our pundit and brilliant Italian journalist, Tancredi Palmeri. So there's general news and gossip all about motorsport. Thank you to everyone for watching, tuning in. Thanks to you for tweeting about the show, for joining us on Facebook and generally spreading the word. Please continue to do it. It's nice, isn't it?
It's very nice.
It's nice to know that we're being watched and appreciated.
A lot.
All the hard work we put into this for 5 minutes before we come into the studio. I just did a Kimi Räikkönen. No, not like that. I just had a little sleep. We were waiting to do the show, and I fell asleep with 5 minutes to go. Now I feel much better.
You've still got a bit of bed head.
That's that £9 toppers haircut I just had. So before we get into the big news, which was the Formula One result of the weekend, a few headlines. In shirt-related news, Eddie Jordan gets an OBE. In Williams Formula One team news, Adam Parr gets his P45, and in IndyCar fueling mistake news, Rubens Barrichello gets a DNF. Those are the main headlines today on The Grid. But, Kevin, Sepang, Malaysia, what a shocker.
What a shocker.
Give me your rundown of the weekend.
Well, firstly, I'm not looking forward to speaking to Tancredi later. He's going to be unbearable.
They'll be just full of whatever Italian I told you so is.
Oh, look, we've got Alonso there. I'm a bit worried about Alonso's beard. The politest way of saying it is that looks a bit like pubic topiary. It's just a bit weird, isn't it? I mean, I don't know what's going on, but they have bets between them or something like that. I don't know. We've got Hamilton as Wolverine, him as the Brazilian. I don't know what's going on.
And of course, Perez, Speedy Gonzalez, he's got the whitest teeth I've ever seen in a Formula. You know, they must have a special visor to stop the flies, sort of spoiling that amazing.
Look at them.
Look at those amazing teeth. But an incredible result that nobody could have predicted.
No one. Only some kind of genius.
We'll come to this in a moment, but extraordinary that Alonso, Ferrari had all admitted the car wasn't quick enough to win. It was never going to win races in the first half of the season, never going to happen, and then it wins.
Yeah, a bit worried about that. Really don't like it, really don't. I was quite happy at the start of the season when they were messing things up. I quite saw them as like the Mario brothers just messing around and making things look, I mean, it's not a pretty picture, is it?
Oh, come on, it is. You know, as a kind of, for a neutral, it's a great story. The second race of the season.
I guess so. I mean, and I've got a newfound respect for
You're
Alonso.
Like the opposite of neutral. You just hate everyone. You don't want anyone to win. I hate everyone equally.
I hate it, even when the people I like win.
What is the opposite of neutral? I don't know. Anyway, like a negative neutral. In terms of predicting this, what's really annoying is that, as we'll come to in a moment, we have our own league on the Castrol Edge Predictor. And to be honest, if you haven't joined yet, it's still a good time to join, because you could easily go into the lead just in the next event, because we've all done really badly, terribly badly in the Predictor. But if only I'd listened to my own advice on this very television station at the weekend on Saturday, I think after qualifying, I made this little prediction looking at the odds for the Formula One in Malaysia. Have a look. There's normally a monsoon at about 25 laps. You can almost predict that by clockwork, and then anything can happen. Like I would put Alonso and Räikkönen, I mean, 80 to 1 for a victory. If there's a massive smash between sort of the front runners during that monsoon, then that's a great bet. Because their cars are quick. The Ferrari, Alonso is wringing speed out of that Ferrari that Massa couldn't hope to get out of it. So despite the fact that I'm wearing almost exactly the same clothes but a slightly different haircut, and that was only 4 days ago, live on this station, I said 80 to 1 bet on Alonso would be a good bet. If only I'd listened to my own advice.
You never offer that insight on this programme, do you?
Or anywhere else in my life. That was put on the spot and I came up with that.
I've got a theory about the betting, though. I've got a theory because Alonso, when he was interviewed after the race, mentioned if you put some money on me, you'd be very rich. Whitmarsh, when asked about whether Massa was going to move or not, said you'd probably be best putting some safe money on Massa moving after China. And obviously during the race, Petter Solberg said, we need this position, in inverted commas. So maybe this could be Formula One's first betting scandal. You've heard it here first. I just want to get that in. I mean, these guys are pretty grubby. It's well within their remit. You know.
There is a deal of corruption, collusion going on all the time among the teams. But, that was me just kind of highlighting the fact that the rain can have an effect. And that is what happened in Malaysia. That's what I was trying to say, is that 80-1 for Alonso, who, thanks to the great stats work of Motorsport News, have flagged up the fact that he is now 5th in the all-time most successful winners, all-time winners list. He's only 3 races behind Nigel Mansell. And he's it goes Schumacher, Prost, Senna, Mansell, Alonso now. He's just overtaken Jackie Stewart for the number of wins, career wins in Formula One. So you forget just how dominant he can be.
About 3 years,
so very, very impressive. What else? And also what was fascinating for me was to see Lewis Hamilton happier to be beaten by Alonso.
I told you he doesn't like Button, I told you.
Than he was by his own teammate a week before. What's that about?
I don't know, maybe he's going to move. Maybe he's sniffing a position somewhere.
Really?
If some people, maybe he wants to go and drive for Sauber.
So, how did you get on with our Castrol Edge predictor this week?
Can't remember, don't know, not looked at it.
Because I don't think any of us did well. Is this you? That's you. So the one thing that has done you extremely well is you've got 3rd and 4th correct.
Yeah.
Hamilton and Webber, that's high scoring actually, to have 22 points out of round 2.
Well, you can tell that by if you look at the global rank, I've only dropped 91 points, 91 positions in the global ranking. That's not too bad. And I've moved up to 4th in the thing. So.
But look at all the zeros there.
All right.
That's insane.
No.
Yours is much better than mine, but
let's have a look at yours.
That just shows how potentially exciting this season is and how unpredictable that race was. That such experts as us were unable. I mean, look at that. I got 11 points.
You got 11 points. Oh, and you dropped 1,509 points.
That's just in our league. Oh no, hang on. I dropped 1 point within the Sports Tonight Live league, and there's only 25 people in it. Look, and so I got.
I had Grosjean.
I got
have you not
2
learned?
points for. Pardon?
Have you not learned about Grosjean? Have you not learned the way you work?
I have a little bit of French faith left in Roman. I'm a romantic at heart. Roman, great, it doesn't matter. So that was the predictor, but the man in our last week's show who made some brilliant, like he was talking up Perez, he was talking about Massa, he brought us an exclusive, I think, last week.
He really did.
We'll be talking to him after the break. This is Tancredi Palmeri, who's Skyping in live from Italy. So let's take a break and we'll be back in about 3 minutes. Ciao. Welcome back to the Grid on Sports Tonight Live. This is part 2 of episode 6, and we're about to get stuck back into the Formula One. Still to come, we should be talking to former World Rally Champion Petter Solberg and future champion, hopefully in the world of Formula One, Alexander Rossi. But first, let's just get back to a few talking points from the Formula One race at the weekend at Sepang in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia. Vettel. Let's talk about Vettel. Not a particularly good loser.
Well, no, exactly. And me being a seething ball of hate, I loved watching him lose the plot. Swearing at
anti-neutral, that's what you call it.
Swearing at people. And he was interviewed by the BBC and he called Carter Kane an idiot.
Yeah.
But later on he told the German television channel that he thought he was a cucumber. Now, I'm not sure where this insult comes from.
And even that, I read a different translation that said it was a gherkin.
Yeah, I
so
heard
maybe
gherkin.
It's slang for a bodily part that resembles one of those. I don't know.
You
I'm
and
not
your
German.
warty gherkin.
But it wasn't his fault.
No, absolutely
Vettel
not.
overtook
absolutely
him and
not.
pulled in too quickly. It's like cutting someone up on a motorway.
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
not his fault at all. So why is he fined? Why was he penalised? And why is Vettel getting away with calling him an idiot and a cucumber / gherkin / knob?
Can you say knob? All this time we've wasted that opportunity.
It wasn't his fault.
I don't think it was his fault at all. I guess if you were to objectively look at it, there's no need for him to not back off. What's he going to gain by carrying on at the speed he was? But hey, come on, give the guy a break. He was racing around for the first time. He's lucky if he'd be doing it again.
Now, and he's been quoted as saying that he feels that other drivers bully him.
Well, they obviously do. I mean,
what's one way to attract people to bully you? Claim you're being bullied. So that was one side. Another big story of the weekend was Raikkonen for a number of reasons. Very quick, up to speed, but also the Lotus hospitality area
burnt down. I've got a theory about that too. Because before the weekend, because of his ice cream incident that happened at this race, he gave the entire press corps ice creams. I reckon they just didn't see the funny side and set fire to the freezer. That's what happened.
Freezers, which are famous for being cold, is where the fire started.
Yeah.
That's how hot it is in Malaysia.
No idea.
But also, Kimi, very quick. I think he was the fastest lap of the race. But at the end, when everyone else is being interviewed, and he's known historically as the Iceman.
Cool.
He was the most ruffled, puffy-looking. Sweaty, really. Like, he's not the Iceman anymore.
He had lost the plot.
He's the rubbish man.
He was going, my visor was dirty. Yeah, you haven't got a windscreen now, idiot.
Why am I getting blue flags? Oh, good old Kimi, but he's back. That Lotus, he's gonna be quick. And shame about his teammates, but probably more about that later. Now, someone who's caused quite a sensation by being our guest on this show, so we've got to get him back to see what's going on in Italy right now, is our very good friend Tancredi Palmeri. Buongiorno, come stai?
Buongiorno from Milano. I feel fantastic. You should see what the summer is here, not even spring, and doesn't have nothing to do with Ferrari. But anyway, was nice to celebrate that on Sunday, to watch the rain while here there was sun, and celebrating Alonso on the first step of the podium.
So give us a sense. Oh, who's that in the background? Give us a wave. Hello. Where are you? Where are you, Tancredi?
I am here in the sports bar here in Milano, and it's probably one of the best places where you can watch every kind of sports, and football and everything is all of fame. It's quite a good one.
I imagine some interesting sporting deals have been done in that bar as well. Tancredi, first of all, how big a deal was it for the Monday morning papers in Italy that Ferrari had a victory this early in the season?
Well, I can give you a glimpse. The Gazzetta dello Sport, I don't know, maybe you probably should have something, even if that was the weekend after, we are talking about Formula One, but just to give you an idea, that was the Monday after Juventus-Inter and Milan-Roma, before Milan-Barcelona. Well, the opening of Gazzetta, just under the main headline, was all for Alonso celebrating. It was all red on pink, and that was actually justified, because nobody could expect that, and nobody could. It was really a kind of shock in the morning, and I can tell you then in the afternoon, in the night, every sport program, in spite of these big events going on in Italy, where they all just shouting about Alonso, and it was of course a huge joy and a shock. And then there was, all the talks that were going on also in the comparison. Look what Alonso did, look what Massa did not.
Now, of course, when we spoke to you last week, you were very vocal and showed us what the Gazzetta had said about Massa. He's going to be replaced at Ferrari. And the Perez's name, Sergio Perez, out of the blue, his name had been picked out of a hat. And then come the weekend, he's coming second and challenging Alonso for a Formula One Grand Prix win. First of all, how good are you as a source? But second of all, that must surely help him smooth his way into the factory Ferrari team. Because, of course, he's in a Ferrari now.
Yes, indeed. Well, as I'm a good source, I can tell you that after the live, I will give you the numbers for the bingo, and you should like it. But I want a huge fee for that. And after that, I can tell you, yes, it was exactly the man in the shadow that was coming out from the shadow. The day of Sergio Perez, when after that, everybody then talk about Sergio Perez. And Massa, of course, was a lot questioned about that thing. It was a very embarrassing story, because the way, guys, the performance of Massa, it was pretty embarrassing. I mean, his setup, his choice of tires, of course, is not something that's just on his shoulders, but we know that the setup of a car is something that is fully involving the driver. And the way that he chose then to get in, to come out with the tires just before the rain came out. I mean, it was a huge disaster. And even the strategy, the way to drive, was a huge pressure. Massa was questioned about that. He said, I don't care at all about the second place that Perez clinched. Of course, what else he could say? But it is putting a huge pressure. And Gazzetta in the Monday, just after depicting Alonso as the machine, so not the car as the machine, but Alonso himself as the machine, they made this comparison between the excuses, not the apologize, the excuses of Massa, and how Perez was already fulfilling what probably what the Ferrari would like to find in the next driver that will replace him. It's not something that is going to happen, as we said already, tomorrow, next week, in a couple of weeks. But that was, guys, the best job talk that you could ever expect, honestly.
Do you think, Tancredi, do you think that Perez was told to stay behind Ferrari? Do you think that's a possibility? Do you think there were team orders? How do you feel about that?
I can tell you, I was a bit bothered when the Sauber Ferrari came out in the radio, the Sauber came out in the radio talk, in the radio communication to Perez, telling him exactly these words: we need this position. Because, okay, that's true that for Sauber, the second place is pure gold. But at the same time, one guy that is probably having already a lot of pressure, that is eating out 1 second every lap to Alonso, is arriving there. I don't know, there is really the need from the team to say by radio, we need this position. A couple of laps after Perez did the huge mistake. Of course, I'm not saying that there was anything planned or calculated, not even thinking that. But I mean, let the guy go. I mean, he's going there. It's true that they need that position. But and honestly, as a neutral viewer, I would have preferred them to say, we like that, take care, but you are doing great.
Yeah.
In that way, it's like you are putting over the pressure that you probably already had in the brain.
Okay, Tancredi, have a fantastic rest of your summertime Milan afternoon.
But I have to tell you one thing before we stop this, because I heard that you were talking about Vettel. There was just some last-minute rumors that I got that was confirmed from some my sources in Gazzetta, and it's that Chris Horner at Red Bull had actually seen that yesterday had a very tense meeting with Sebastian Vettel because they were clashing over the fact that in the last laps they called Vettel for him to retire in order that they could change the gears, and then Vettel decided not to go back in the pit lane to stop his race, and they asked why. Vettel answered that he wanted to see the finish line, but now seems that Chris Horner in that meeting was completely mad at the German.
Brilliant.
I love
That's the kind of gossip we like to hear. Tancredi, thank you for bringing us such good news, and hopefully we'll speak to you again in 3 weeks' time around the time of the Chinese Grand Prix, okay? Grazie, ciao. So that's Tancredi there, our pundit live in Milan, bringing us that great story to hear that grumpy Sebastian was sent to see the headmaster and told off for ignoring team orders, and himself being something of a gherkin/cucumber. So now we're going to continue to go straight back to the Skype wall, and I'm very pleased to say we're joined live on Skype by Alexander Rossi. Alex, how are you, my friend?
Yeah, doing very well, thank you.
Now, Alex, I should explain, is a Formula Renault 3.5 driver and Caterham Test driver. And where are you exactly right now, Alex?
I'm actually in my flat from Milton Keynes. I just got back from training at Pro Performance down in Gatwick. But yeah, it's been a busy week so far, and looking forward to getting back in the car next week in Barcelona.
Yeah, so it's very soon. This the testing of the 3.5. Now it's the new car for this year. Have you had a chance to drive it at all yet?
Yeah, the first test was 2 weeks ago in Paul Ricard, and the car is spectacular actually. Very, very comparable in terms of downforce to a Formula 1 car actually, and the lap times are truly impressive. I mean, we are already 5 seconds quicker than what the old car was last year. 5
seconds around Paul Ricard?
Yeah, so it's a whole new animal, and getting on top of it is a good challenge, and everyone's really enjoying it so far.
The new model has DRS as well, which must be a great addition to the racing.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not something that we were using so much in Paul Ricard because we were focusing on just understanding the car, but it certainly is going to have its advantages, especially in the races, to increase overtaking. And obviously, if you're giving a bunch of young guys even more opportunity to overtake, it's going to make the racing very, very exciting.
So were you in Kuala Lumpur? Were you in Malaysia for the Grand Prix?
No, I wasn't. And I'm probably a bit thankful about that, hearing from the team about how hot it was and how uncomfortable they were.
Yeah.
But, no, I wasn't there. The first Grand Prix that I will be attending will be in Barcelona.
Okay. Now, this year, first of all, in World Series by Renault, who do you think is going to be your main rivals on the grid?
Yeah, I mean, it's early days, so it's quite difficult to tell. But obviously, there's big names in there in the form of Sam Bird and Jules Bianchi. Obviously, Kevin Korias was quite quick last year as a rookie. But I feel that I finished third in my rookie season, and being together with Arden Caterham this year in World Series, that we have a very good opportunity to win that championship. So that's our goal moving forward. And whatever else happens, we'll have to wait and see.
And obviously, having been racing last year against Daniel Ricciardo and Jean-Eric Vergne, how does it feel to see how clear the step up the ladder is to watch them now racing in Formula One, and you were just racing with them, 6 months ago?
Yeah, it's a bit surreal, honestly. The first 2 races, watching them and seeing them get interviewed and such, but it just shows how good of a stepping stone World Series has become. And this year, it's going to be even more competitive. So I think it's great for the drivers involved, because there's a lot of recognition from the motorsport industry, and it's definitely the place to be right now.
Now, you're an American driver. You're young, you're talented, you're quick. You have an Italian name. How long are you going to sit by the phone and wait for Ferrari to go, we need a driver to replace Massa, and he's got an Italian name? Do you think that's likely?
As long as it takes, eh? We actually have had communication with Ferrari, especially a lot at the end of 2010, and the relationships that we have there are positive. But obviously, with anything in Formula One, and especially with a team of that caliber, there's never any type of certainty or guarantee or any clues as to what's really going on. But obviously, Ferrari is a dream of every racing driver. So I mean, to even think about the opportunity is something quite special.
Definitely, and you got a chance to prove yourself this year. Now, we've got the Formula One coming back to USA in November at this new circuit, the Circuit of Americas. Is it finished yet? Have you seen it? Do you know how close to completion it is?
I honestly don't know. I've seen photos, and the progress that they're making is very good. And I can tell you that, as an American, if people are behind on something, especially the Texans, they will find a way to get it done. It's quite impressive and a bit scary. So, I have every confidence that the race will happen this year, and it's going to be very exciting for Formula One to return to America.
And with your close connections with the Caterham team and everything else that's going on in your career and the potential for the year between now and November, what would you rate your chances at? Do you have a sort of a feeling in the back of your mind that there's even the remotest possibility that you could be on the grid at the American Grand Prix in November?
I think it kind of depends on how this year goes. I mean, there's always the opportunity and there's always the potential, but there's also a lot of contributing factors to making that decision. Everybody realizes the importance of first of all having an American race and then having an American driver in that race. So it is definitely something that is a talking point, but no decisions have been made in that regard. As the year's just starting to happen. So as we get closer to that time, maybe there will be a bit of clarity. But this time it's not something that is a big topic on the top of my mind.
But it's somewhere in the back of your mind, I can imagine, and hopefully it's the kind of thing that has a magical way of happening to have an American on the grid. Yeah,
absolutely, and that'd be something that words probably couldn't describe, honestly. So, fingers crossed that at least I'll get a Friday practice session in and be able to give something America to cheer for.
Superb. Alex, what a pleasure to talk to you. I will see you in Aragon at Motorland in a couple of weeks. I'll be making TV from there. So all the very best. Enjoy Milton Keynes and its lovely roundabouts. Oh, and, and we'll see you again very soon. Will you come and join us on Skype again soon?
Yes, absolutely.
Thank you very much. That's Alexander Rossi. You noticed.
One driver.
I know. You noticed that Kevin couldn't say a word because he's a racing driver. And Kevin
a real one.
I think you fell a little bit in love.
Always falling in love with this guy. Always.
Right. Well, while Kevin recomposes himself and I decompose a little further, we shall take a break and come back when we'll be talking rallying and ultimately NASCAR. But for now, we'll see you in a minute. Welcome back to The Grid on Sports Tonight Live. This is part 3, and if you've just joined us, where have you been? You've already missed an exclusive from Formula Renault 3.5 driver Alexander Rossi that at some point in the past he's been speaking to Ferrari. So maybe Perez, maybe Rossi for the future, replacing Massa. And of course, Kevin going all over wobble.
Yeah, a little bit of a moment.
Young Alex Rossi, there we go. So, but now we move from circuit racing to gravel rallying, and it is a great pleasure to have the former world champion and current Ford WRC driver, Petter Solberg, live on Skype. Petter, how are you, sir?
Hello, darling.
Petter, do you know what? Since I'm not doing the WRC anymore, I miss you. I miss hanging out with you and watching you drive. Is the world of rally the same without me?
Well, on Sunday nights, I can't say it's the same without you, that's for sure.
What do you do on Sunday nights, you boys?
Petter and I would frequently have dance-offs at the rally party.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, have some dancing competition, and I don't know if you want to talk about it, who is actually winning every time, but okay.
Really?
It's always me. But one little known fact about Hollywood Petter Solberg is that he was a former disco dancing champion before he was a rally driver.
Wow.
And I think that's what the left foot braking is for. It's to
little
do
twinkle
with
toes.
Yeah, the way that he can use his feet like that. So, Petter, tell us about Portugal. And I've got Kevin here. Say hello, Kevin.
Hello. Howdy.
So explain to Kevin how the qualifying system has gone and why you've chosen the position on the road. Because tomorrow, Rally Portugal kicks off live, and you've chosen what position on the road?
16.
And explain why that is.
Qualifying, we do 2 warm-up laps in the morning, and we can try a little bit different setup, different tires. And then it's like a normal stage after that, the third time. Mm-hmm. And the fastest driver on that qualifying stage can choose the first starting position from all the WRC cars, drivers. And of course, I was second fastest. Jari was the fastest, and after a lot of meeting and strategy, looking at we have our own weather person here to look, the next 24 hours and the next 3 days, and try to put a plan on it. And our choice was basically to choose 16 for me and 17 for Jari, and we mean that. That is the best position for cleaning and to be the fastest.
For cleaning? What do you mean by cleaning?
So cleaning, basically, it's if you're first on the road on a gravel rally, on a dry gravel rally, there's a surface layer of gravel which the first few cars don't have very much grip because they're sweeping it away. But then under there is the hard-packed surface, so that the cars running behind have more grip.
So obviously, this is like you say, cleaning. That means that you go faster, more cars that goes around. If it's rain, it's better to be first on the road because then you get a little bit mud, and then it's best starting position 1. It is talk about a little bit rain or showers on Friday, maybe tomorrow night, but you know how it is. Citroen shows 1 and 2, and they hope that it will be no wind, so it will be a lot of dust, or it will be a lot of rain. So we are taking different approach, but very interesting.
It's very interesting that, yes, the 2 different teams have gone wildly opposite. But let's get off the subject of weather because, even though it is very important to the rally, it's a little bit like small talk in a bus queue. Petter, it's great to watch you driving in a factory car this year. It must feel good to have the backing of a team. And all the cars you've driven in your career, from the Toyota through the Ford Escorts, Focuses, Subaru Impreza, your own private Citroens. How is the Fiesta, this new Fiesta that you're driving? How does it feel?
Well, obviously we have very good results the 3 first rallies now, and you know, we jumped into with a very small amount of testing, and we have been fast. But just now it's like a turning point. We have come to the next level with using the car. It's very fast, and I think, well, I haven't had so fun in a rally car since maybe 2004, I must say.
Really?
So, yeah. You know, in the factory team, it is a factory team. A lot of people, well organized, and well, you can't compare it with what I've done in my private team, that's for sure. But
No.
even that was also fun.
Mm-hmm. And you worked very hard. Your heart and soul was into getting yourself continuing to rally, and it was a testament to you and your hard work and the small team around you, and just the pure love of rallying, which I think, you know, fans around the world really appreciate to see in someone like you, because, you know, the polar opposite is as perceived is Loeb as the kind of Schumacher of the sport. Seems to just be a sort of quite sort of machine-like, and doesn't seem to have the outward passion that you do. So it's a
Thanks for that, but you know, I had the dream and I had the goal, and I was not finished with it yet, and now we are back in the factory team. You know, if you follow your instinct and that you love driving so much, you know, everything is possible. And now we are third in the World Championship, and hopefully after this rally we'll be even higher. And you know, it's a long year, and you know, I will push the limit, same as you do on many other areas.
Petter, you're due a win. It's about time you won a rally, and I've got a feeling that Portugal, that everything seems to be right. You've got a good car, you've just had the upgrades because of the new homologation on the 1st of March. I think you're ready. What will it take? Obviously the last couple of Portugals as well, Ogier has won, and that's not going to happen here. You know, it's a blank canvas for you.
Well, everything is there to be taken, and you know, Ladwala is very fast. We saw that. You know, he's an unbelievable driver. It's like you say, don't take this wrong, but the balls Jari have now, I had that balls when I was younger, but I am more mature now. You know, so I can try to control it a little bit. But obviously, you know, this rally, it's all about you know, trying to survive without punctures and not be crazy from the start. And I'm gonna start much smarter this rally compared with what I did in Mexico. I was absolutely flat out straight away, and I was thinking, well, I'm gonna take this one. But the car is so good and so fast. So for me, with the improvement that the team have done, you know, maybe hold back a little bit and wait, and that's my plan from now.
That's very interesting. And is that your own formulated plan, or is that partially organised with Malcolm Wilson, the team boss? Because I know he desperately needs to start stockpiling manufacturers' points to work towards Ford winning a manufacturer's title this year. So is that your own feeling, or is that part of the team plan?
Everything we do is a team thing, and for me, you know, we have to do it. You know, after all the punches we had now on the last rally, it was my own fault basically. So, but it should be okay. Just try to play the game a little bit.
And where are you right now? What's going on around you? Because you've been rallying, you've had shakedown and qualifying this afternoon. What's happening for the rest of the day today?
Well, obviously we had a lot of interviews. We had this Ford Academy, you know, introduction from all the drivers all around the world. Now I was planning to go for a run until you came on the screen, but I'm going for a run now when I'm finished with you. Okay. And then I'm gonna have some food and look at some inboard.
Yep.
To try to, because it's a lot of new stages, to try to just get a little bit good feeling about that, and then bed alone.
I don't mean to hold you up from your exercise. I know how much you love training. The new stages and the night stages, how do you feel? Because this is kind of harking back to what's perceived as the good old days of rallying in the 80s and 90s, the endurance, the night stages. Is it a good thing to have night stages, or is it just bring it on, I'll do whatever?
Well, for me it doesn't matter. I can drive 24 hours from my point of view. I don't care. It all depends on what teams want and the organizers, and you know, as you know, I'm only a driver, you know, so it doesn't matter. I drive. Just give me something flat out.
And You were saying before about the dust. Everyone's talking, oh, the dust might be a problem in the night stages, but I hear they're going to water the stages anyway, so dust won't be a problem.
If it's water or rain by itself, and it's a little bit like this, I think, and hey, let's just start tomorrow and we will find out.
Okay, well, listen, what an absolute pleasure to talk to you, and hopefully we'll see you on the podium come the end of the weekend.
That's the plan. Nice to talk to you again, guys, and I watched your program already, and it's good, and you haven't changed anything.
Talking of changing anything, Petter, one last thing. There is a kind of a rumbling around the World Rally fans about the facial furniture you're sporting these days. Talk us through the beard.
Well, basically, if I take it, I will look very, very young. So I try to look mature again, so that's why I build it up. And I was actually planning to take it last week, but my son said, Daddy, you look so cool. So I have to take it, but maybe I will take a little bit tonight. We will see.
Oh, you might go start tomorrow with a new aerodynamic face.
Yeah, we shave everything on the whole body and we will get ready.
That's a little bit too much information. Petter Solberg, thank you so much for joining us, and all the very best to you and the team this weekend. And give everyone my love. Say hi to Chris, your co-driver, as well.
I will. Thank you, guys.
Superb.
Yeah.
Thanks, Petter.
Cheerio.
So an insight for you there into...
He's a great guy.
Yeah,
He's a driver, a dancer and a philosopher, it seems. It's amazing.
And someone who's going to sculpt his own body. Yeah. Maybe he should go for the Alonso. It worked for Fernando.
Yeah, it worked for Alonso. Yes.
So by doing this, I know you're a kind of, what is it, an anti-neutral Formula One purist.
I prefer seething ball of hate, but that's what you want to go with.
I was just being nice. Are we starting to convert you to rallying as a discipline?
I mean, these guys seem to be more fun. Go dancing and stuff. Can you imagine dancing with Lewis Hamilton? No.
No. Only if he's smiling. You were saying that Lewis Hamilton, there's rumours he's going to be in Ron Howard's 70s Formula One movie Rush.
Yeah.
I don't know what he's going to play.
Let's not talk about that.
Now, NASCAR, the season's well underway, and someone to help us understand what's going on and what happened at the weekend is Becca Gladden, who I believe is on the phone rather than on Skype. Hello, Becca.
Hi, how are you guys? Yeah, sorry about that. We'll get the Skype up next week for sure.
Hey, that's no problem. We're just very glad that you're there. So can you tell us what happened at the weekend and how the season is shaping up from NASCAR perspective?
Well, absolutely. I think the season has been really, really interesting so far. The fans and the competitors really seem to be enjoying it. And part of the reason is that we have had not only different drivers winning each of the first 5 races, except for the repeat this weekend with Tony Stewart, but also different manufacturers. Mm-hmm. So just reviewing the first 4 races were won by Matt Kenseth in a Ford, Denny Hamlin in a Toyota, Tony Stewart in a Chevy, and Brad Keselowski in a Dodge. And it was 4 different types of racetracks that race very differently. Right. So it's just been a good start for the season in the fact that it's been a bit unpredictable, and that makes it exciting. That makes it exciting to watch racing. But this past weekend was in Fontana, California, and the winner was the repeat winner, Tony Stewart, who's already got 2 races won under his belt in the first 5 of the season. So it's he's just picking up where he left off from last year. And it was a rain-shortened race, so made it a little bit less than thrilling at the end because it was called off due to rain. But other than that, it's been a great start for the season so far.
It's funny how rain affected pretty much everything at the weekend. But what's interesting for us when we watch NASCAR is the whole the drafting thing, the way that teams pair up or drivers pair up, and it's quite hard for us to understand exactly whether they're doing that. That's pre-arranged. What's the situation? Drivers can't talk to each other anymore. What's the ruling on that?
Well, the drafting is really a factor on the bigger racetracks, the super speedways, or the restrictor plate tracks, such as where the Daytona 500 was held. Mm-hmm. And the reason that they draft, you guys probably know because you understand racing, but just for the casual race fans, the reason that they draft is that it helps both cars. The second car being tucked up behind the first car actually sort of pushes the first car faster, and at the same time it the first car sucks the second car along with it, so to speak. So it really helps increase the speed of both cars, and that's why they draft. You know, in the old days, drafting used to happen in big packs, and it's only recently that it's come down to, you know, these tandem packs, as they were calling them. But NASCAR really tried during the off-season to do some testing at Daytona to break up those two-car tandems, or at least make it where they had to sort of separate every now and then, or maybe draft with someone else, because it wasn't all that popular with race fans to see those two-car tandems. So they did break it up somewhat at Daytona, and I think we're going to see that as a trend where they're going to try and get away from the pairs drafting and maybe get back into a little bit more of the pack drafting.
Interesting, but what it does mean is that they're so close, literally bumper to bumper, that that's when incidents can occur, because the car behind can often not have quite so much control, and not, you know, that they can, a little bit of wind buffeting from another car and spin off. It makes it sort of slightly more exciting, but for the rest of the race, quite boring.
Well, yeah, that's true. And I mean, really in NASCAR, whether you're on a very small track or a super speedway, you know, chances are there are going to be incidents where cars get into each other, because you've got 43 big stock cars on a racetrack, and everyone's battling for position. Everyone wants to be up front, and, you know, especially these days, it seems like it's harder and harder for drivers to pass. And so sometimes as they're jockeying for position, you know, they'll end up getting in touch with each other and maybe spinning someone out or putting someone in the wall. But that's the nature of NASCAR racing. And this weekend we're going to a very, very small track, Martinsville. It's only a half a mile, and it's one of NASCAR's most historic racetracks. But you're going to see cars getting spun out or getting damaged or just getting into each other quite a bit here as well. So whether it is a small track or a super speedway, it's just the nature of NASCAR racing.
Superb. I think we now feel very much educated about it and watch it with a little bit more knowledge this weekend. Becca, thank you very much for joining us. We're going to have to say goodbye, so but hopefully next time we can get you on Skype if that works.
Yeah,
from
that
America.
sounds great. I look forward to it.
Okay, thank you very much, Becca.
All right, thanks,
we'll see
guys.
you soon. Thank you, and we'll take a break and be back in about 2.5 minutes. Bye. Welcome back to the fourth and final part of The Grid, episode 6. Thank you very much for all of your contact, by the way, when you tweet us at STL_TheGrid or post on our Facebook wall or whatever. It's much appreciated. And in the future, you too could appear on our grid wall. On our grid wall? Our Skype wall, which says The Grid on it. That's why I called it that. So before we sort of look forward to China, which is, of course, the next Grand Prix, final thoughts about the weekend just gone?
Well, Mercedes have had their DRS system approved, the controversial DRS system, but I have noticed a slight design flaw in that you need to be a second behind another car to use it, something they seem to be failing to do. And Perez, I think he gives the key to the team orders question, because if you watch the BBC iPlayer at the very end, they asked him if it was team orders, and he sort of flounders about with some lies for a bit, then politely but abruptly ends the interview and literally runs away.
Yes.
Runs away.
Yeah,
and the press are following him. So yeah, I think he's answered the question.
He dodged the issue. Yeah. He literally ran away from the question. So where does that leave us for the next Grand Prix? It's 2 races down, very, very different podiums. The championship standings are all over the place. Where does it leave us for China?
I haven't got a clue. I actually haven't got a clue. I look at it and I think, well, surely that shouldn't have happened. And that's happened. And do we discount the rain? Do we include the rain? I mean, I've no idea what's going to happen in China, which is very exciting, really. I mean,
yeah, it's good. That's the way it should be. It should not be one car or team dominating, and it certainly isn't Red Bull.
Which is great.
For my anti-neutral.
Webber beat Vettel. Come on.
Yeah, that's great. And Webber drove a really good, really solid race.
Did anyone notice? No.
Brilliant. What I liked, though, Jensen, his honesty in those interviews after race is great. It's like he's turned over a massive new leaf over the last couple of years and just sort of gone, oh, I'm just going to be myself, I'm just going to talk.
There was a time he'd always blame the car, but now he just goes, no, it's a bit rubbish, really, I can only laugh about it. Well, I'm sure Whitmarsh is laughing, Jensen, so maybe you want to turn that in a little bit.
But there's no laughing matter. Just do better. Just do better.
Behave
But
yourself.
interestingly as well, we didn't talk about this with Tancredi. Also with Becker and the NASCAR, I wanted to talk to you about how Juan Pablo Montoya is doing in NASCAR, but we didn't have time.
Probably rubbish.
Yeah, exactly. So, but the Ferrari thing, one of the key things was their pit stops. Like
Yeah.
the McLaren pit stops, okay, they had a couple of problems anyway, but Ferrari have realised they can actually win Grand Prix by having really quick pit stops.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look at the McLaren pit stops, they were taking gaffer tape off brake ducts badly. I mean, it's like they're trying to open some custard creams. They're just like, come on, I can't get it off. I
wonder what it is. Oh, it's a Formula One car that I've just ruined. Okay, we are fast approaching the checkered flag for the show. So first up, some thanks. Thank you very much to Tancredi and Becker, and of course Alexander Rossi and Petter Solberg for being on the show. Quite impressive. Thanks also to all of you who retweet about the program and embed it on your sites like Road Magazine and World Rally Blog. Thank you very much for embedding it on your sites. If you want to get in touch with us, you're very, very welcome to get in touch. So at STL_the grid, give us your comments. If you want to join us on the Skype wall, you're very welcome. And there's a little golf now. We won't be back until 3 weeks' time, I think.
What am I going to hate in that time?
I pity your children. Right, now, Kevin, could you ask me what the motorsport forecast is looking like for the next few weeks?
Neil Cole, what is the motorsport forecast looking like for the next few weeks?
Well, I shall tell you. There's a new feature.
Such a child.
Here on the grid is the motorsport forecast for the next few weeks. Starting with this weekend, I feel like a weather girl.
You don't look like one.
Thanks very much, mate. So this weekend, of course, this side, we have the WRC in Portugal. As we spoke to Petter Solberg earlier in the show, we have the World Touring Cars in Valencia in Spain, and I'll be there working for Eurosport. There's that. Then we've got, I think, the British Touring Cars up there. That's at Brands Hatch. So a busy weekend of motorsport. Also, over here is NASCAR happening at Martinsville, as previewed very nicely earlier in the show by Becker. Looking forward to a warm front sweeping in. I want one of those clickers. Can I have a clicker?
No.
No, because it's not going to change. It's Photoshop. So then the following weekend, very excitingly actually in the world of rallying, the classic Irish rallying event, the Circuit of Ireland, has become an IRC event. So the Intercontinental Rally Challenge comes to this side of Europe. So that's the island there. That starts the 6th of April. You've got British Superbikes, possibly the first time we've mentioned two wheels on the grid, but believe you me, we'll be doing more of that in the future. And if you're a bike fan, then get in touch with what we should be covering here on the grid. Then MotoGP in Qatar. Qatar? Is that Qatar? That's Qatar. MotoGP there. And then, of course, all the way over there in the future and the east is Formula One in China on the 15th of April. So that is my motorsport prediction, my forecast for the next few weeks. Kevin, we're fast approaching the end of the show, so you'll have to come and join me over here. On the map, let's just make sure.
I'm on top of the world!
So thank you very much for watching The Grid. Kevin, any final thoughts before we go to the end of the show?
Eddie Jordan would be proud of my shirt right now.
Yeah, but it's not enough to get you an OBE. Thanks to everyone watching. Please do get in touch. Join us on Facebook. Spread the word. And if you've got anything else you want us to talk about on the next show, we will just talk about it at length, as you have seen. We have been The Grid. You have been watching. And this is our new feature.
It's beautiful.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
Love it.